Here with newest FAU head coach Zach Kittley, Robert LaStella for the Bleacher Brothers Sports Network. Zach, it's been a week and some change since you've been on the job. How's the adjustment process been? I know Coach Jacobs, when basketball, his first couple weeks on the job, he mentioned he lived in a frat house with the other assistant coaches. I don't know if you've got a frat house yet, but what's been going on?
Yeah, no, we're up in a hotel right now. We got some recruits in town and stuff like that, so we're all kind of there as well at the same time. So been in a hotel. Got another 4 or 5 days at the hotel, and then we will have the frat house going though for the month of January until we can all get the families down. So we're gonna get a big Airbnb and put a lot of guys up, and we will be living that frat life. So it'll be fun. But hotel's been great. Everything's been great so far.
You know, the basketball team, they came out of that frat house with a family mentality. So I think it might work. We'll have to regroup with you around February, March, and see if it's like a new unified group or something. But speaking about that staff that you might live in the frat house with, a lot of connections for you personally on that staff. Whether it's Coach Hamby, Coach Delaney, a lot of these guys came over from Texas Tech. Coach Scove, Coach Vasey as well. What is it about your first time on staff with these guys that made you realize, I want to bring them onto my first head coaching staff?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's vital to bring people in that you trust, that have your back, that you've been in the fire with them before, and I've known all these guys for quite some time now. I mean, you mentioned Coach Hamby. I mean, him and I met in 2013. We coached together for about 6 years together. You mentioned, Coach Delaney. Coach Delaney, I was a GA whenever he was a player for us at Texas Tech, so knew him from there. And he worked with some guys in the profession that I'm really close with, and so he was a no-brainer. Coach Scove, mentioned him, special teams coordinator. Man, he's the guy that he's been in my corner for a long time. He was my first hire that I got to make at Houston Baptist as a coordinator. Got to bring him with running backs and special teams, and he's been a guy that I've known since whenever I got this opportunity. He'd be a guy. And Coach Vasey, man, I've only known him for 3 years, but young coach that's got a huge future ahead of him, and was kind of one of my right-hand men at Texas Tech, and a guy that's going to be a huge asset for me here.
And then a couple of hires with some FAUs to them, Devin Santana, DJ McCarthy. When you were sitting down with them, what did they say about their previous time here at FAU that made them want to come back and be a part of your staff?
Yeah, they both lit up when you started talking about Florida Atlantic and the times that they had here, and they, the best part was they believe in my vision, and they believe in this university, they believe in this football program, and they know that with the right leadership and the right energy and the right culture that we can go do a lot of great things here. So for those two guys, those were two slam dunk hires for me, and I think that it was pretty easy for them to say yes when I offered them those jobs.
And then the big one, we know you're bringing the offense, but Brett Dewhurst is coming along to bring the defense. First time for him as a defensive coordinator. In your opinion, why was it the right time for him to make this jump to defensive coordinator? And from conversations you've had, what potentially is the scheme going to look like?
Yeah, Brett's another guy that I've known for a long time. Again, back to our Texas Tech days, my first time there. And he's been around some really good guys, bounced around, Sun Belt a couple different times in the SEC under Coach Arnett there, who's one of the brightest defensive minds in college football. So he's learned a lot of different schemes, which is one of the things that I loved about him. And he's just, I know him as well. Another guy that I trust, that I know has got my back, that I know that him and I will work well together. I know his family, know his kids, know his wife really well. So just great people. But we're going to bring a multiple defense here. We'll be in some 4-down, some 3-down stuff, mix up the coverages in the back end. But him and I see the game very similarly, and the fact that we need to hit the quarterback and create turnovers, and those are two of the ways that we want to go attack on Saturdays. And him and I are like-minded when it looks at that.
Former FAU safety Jerron Morris had high things to say about him. He coached him at Texas State, so that's a good vouch. J-Mo was here 2 years ago as a starting safety for FAU, but two staffers, Jeff Love, Ryan Beer, the scouting department depart to UCF. Not the most opportune time. How have you guys kind of gone about filling those scouting gaps on the fly here? And do you look to replace a general manager, or do you believe that's necessary, or do you think positional coaches can do their own scouting and do it that way?
Yeah, appreciate Jeff and Beer for what they were doing here, man. Those are a great opportunity for them, and And it's been a group effort here. We got a couple younger guys on staff that have been around for a while, and Shane Marinelli and Matt Wiesner and those guys. And man, it's been, those guys are all hands on deck. We got some young students that have been in that recruiting department as well that are really working hard. It's all hands on deck here, and we're trying to work through this thing as a group and get it done the way it needs to get done. And so when you go into your part of the question about the general manager, we're looking into some different scenarios there. I think there's some good to it, but at the same time, looking at, I am a believer that we need, the coaches need to be a huge part of the evaluation process and the recruiting process, really getting to know these student athletes that we'll be recruiting in here, know their strengths, know their weaknesses, know what they like to do outside of ball, really get to know them on a personal level. Because at the end of the day, they're going to be the ones when they get here, they're spending the most time with these young guys. So it's going to be a group effort when it comes to what we're going to do moving forward. But we'll see how the general manager role kind of shakes out for us. But definitely going to have a lot of say as far as the position coaches and the coordinators and myself, of course, when it comes to evaluating these prospects.
Someone I want to ask about specifically is Coach Delaney, because when he was hired at UTEP, Coach Walden gave a raving review about, he's a great tight ends coach, but his best skill is as a recruiter. Mm-hmm. I was wondering if you've been using him in that type of role here, maybe not just with the tight ends, but across the board.
Yeah, no, he's a stud, man. One of the, again, I've known him, so I know exactly who he is as a human being off the field, but great football coach and, elite recruiter. And we're going to have that here. He's a South Georgia guy. And we're going to dominate Florida in recruiting, but we're going to dabble in Georgia as well. So great to have some ties there. We've got quite a few players from the state on the roster right now, and so great to have those connections. But no, he's a slam dunk again, man. And he's done a great job again. We've been having 10 to 15 guys on campus, and I'm having him at everything just because he is a great recruiter. He's just a relationship-based coach, and so that's what I'm trying to build around here is a relationship-based football program, and he's a guy that comes in and did a great job for me right away.
You mentioned having guys on campus. Portal combat is underway. There's been some departures from the team of previous guys, but in my opinion, they've kind of been drought out because you've gotten some guys to come back as well. Kason Wiseman, Daughtry Richardson, Alex Akovich. How big is that to have, a quarterback and then two starting offensive linemen say, yeah, we're coming back and we'll help you build this thing right away? Especially, the O-line, in my opinion, if in G5 is one of the hardest things to recruit, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, no, you're right. Huge having those guys back. Again, that was a goal of mine when I got here is to meet with every student athlete we have individually, try to get as many guys as I could to stay here. Clearly we had some guys depart for other opportunities, and I wish them well. But being able to get those three guys, like you said, to hop out of the portal is huge. Clearly this is going to be a quarterback-based offense, so having Kason come back is awesome for us. And I'm a firm believer that it starts and ends, though, also in the trenches on the offensive and defensive line. So being able to keep Daughtry around and Alex, Alex has been around for a long time, man, and he's a guy that I see as a huge leader for this football program. And so to have a guy back with a lot of experience and that senior leadership voice, if you will, in the locker room is huge for us, and super fired up to have those guys back.
In terms of new additions, you've been keeping us busy tracking all these offers. It seems like you guys have really been attacking, going after a lot of players from all different levels. But I noticed a lot of guys, they have those P-4 offers, but you also see them, they were offered by FAU. What is your discussion with those guys to be like, we may not be that power 4, quote unquote, but you can come here, we'll play, and you'll do well. What's your kind of pitch to those guys?
Yeah, I think everybody's, it's kind of an individual based deal depending on who you're recruiting. For example, like for offensive skill players, who doesn't want to play in this offense? Quarterbacks, who doesn't want to play in this offense? And so that's an easy sell there. But you mentioned playing time. Playing time's huge. We did have some departures by some seniors here, especially on the defensive side of the ball. So there is going to be some opportunity for some immediate playing time. But also the biggest thing is fit, right? And what is each student athlete looking for at their next stop? Some of these guys are 1-year transfers and they've got 1 year left at this thing, and most of the time the ultimate goal is to go play in the NFL, right? So what school is going to give you the best opportunity to showcase your skills? And I think there's no better place in the country to do that than FAU.
Is there, obviously, I'm sure, you're open to anybody coming to Paradise, but, is there any specific positions that you feel like, we need to attack this right away?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of mentioned it a minute ago. Offensive line and defensive line; those are two areas that again, I think you're going to win and lose the game there. We've got to be able to get in the fourth quarter and have depth and be able to punch you in the mouth late. So we've got to make sure that we're really good on the offensive and defensive line. So I'm already checking a couple of those boxes, like you said, getting some of those guys out of the portal, which is huge. Had a couple big time defensive line on campus today. So that's one area that we're really attacking, and we need to feel like we get some good guys to help the depth piece there.
Winding down here with FAU coach Zach Kittley. So obviously a big day here at I was going to say FAU Stadium, but how big is it? Flagler Credit Union. Your first or second week on the job, and they're making a $22.5 million investment. How big is that for the school? And right first couple weeks on the job, and you see an investment like that, what does that feel like?
Yeah, it's massive. I mean, I think the thing that I love about it is it shows you that we're serious about athletics, and football in general. And so, and I'm not just talking about the Group of Five level or the American. I mean, what we just got here with the agreement we had is one of the best in the country. And so I think it shows again that we're serious about the trajectory of this football program, this athletics department, and this university as a whole. So couldn't be more excited to get that under our belt.
Still an open date on that schedule. I'm sure it's bottom of the barrel for you at the moment, but has there been any discussions with Brian or anyone else about filling that date?
Yeah, there has been. We're working through that right now, and hopefully we'll have something announced. Hopefully at fairly soon. We'll see.
Last question. So 2 weeks on the job now. What has maybe been the hardest thing for you to adjust, and then what's the coolest part been about this job to you?
The hardest part probably just the nonstop. I mean, it's 6 a.m. to midnight every day, and trying to get staff hired, and luckily we're almost done with the staff, and portal recruiting is it's chaos, and again trying to recruit our own guys to not hit the portal. So I'd say that's the toughest part, but at the same time it's part of the job. So the funnest part for me is honestly been able to two things: been able to build the staff that I've been able to bring, get around these guys, get the camaraderie going. It's been a lot of fun being around the guys, and I mean, so I'm super fired up. It's probably the thing I'm the most proud of so far is a group of men and women that I've been able to bring into this football program that are going to help me carry the vision and the culture of this football program. So that's one. And number two, first 2 days on the job, all I did was meet with the student athletes here that have been in this football program, and that was really exciting for me, just to kind of get to know those guys and fill them out and see where they're at and see where their head was, some good and some bad over the last few years, and some stuff that I can help change around here. So that was really fun for me, and then clearly you should get to know all the recruits that are on campus and flying in every day. So it's all been a blast so far.
Zach, thanks so much for taking some time.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Thank you.
For FAU coach Zach Kittley, I'm Robbie LaStella. This has been the FAU Owl's Nest interview on the Bleacher Brothers Sports Network.